The reason I've called up Portia is Portia's been working with Joe in a one-on-one basis. We're also in the Money Magic Mastermind together. And I've known Portia since the start of 2016. And Portia, I have to say, you're a completely different person than when we first met. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So let's do an introduction for us, please, so everyone knows who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Portia Jackson. Technically Dr. Portia Jackson if you want to get into logistics. And I say that because I'm a former rocket scientist, transition careers, and now I am a Facebook ad strategist and sales funnel builder. And I've been working with Joe for a year now, and it's been a year in life. A lot of things have happened, and like whatever you can cram into life in a year, I've pretty much checked all those boxes.
So while you're on that subject, let's just get into it. So what's happened for you over the last year? Now, there's a lot that's happened, so just give me a couple of the really significant things that have happened for you.
Oh, okay. The most significant has been, I started in online business in 2014. I had a podcast for working moms, and I was like, well, how do I make money from this? And it transitioned to something else. And then last year, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a business coach. This is what I'm doing. It's what I'm called to do. Well, end of the day, I think I made like $6,200 last year. Invested significantly more than that to make that. But this year, after working with Joe, by the end of this year, I am on track to be over $135,000. I forgot to tell her that part.
How cool is that? That's actually not the first time that we've high-fived today. We had another little high-five moment at about 7:30 today. Would you like to share that part?
Okay, well, in addition to a lot of things that have happened over the course, it's also learning to value myself and my services. When I started Facebook advertising, I've been doing it for myself for years, but when I started doing it for other people, and because I found out I had a lot of joy in doing it, my analytical engineering mind really enjoys all the numbers and stuff behind it. But when I started off, I was charging $500 a month. Getting my clients really great results, and just been working with Joe, getting through the money blocks and everything, and my worth and my value, and just I was way undercharging for what the industry does for ads. And so I decided to raise my prices. We talked about this last week at the mastermind, and this morning I closed my first client at $2,500 a month. So very excited.
Oh, you've got music.
Oh, I have I've always wanted a soundtrack in life. And now that's my other accomplishment I'm going to list for this year is I now have a soundtrack for life.
So, Portia, when you first started working with Joe, can you give us a little bit of an idea of what you were expecting or wanting from the coaching relationship?
Well, I signed up with Joe because very similar to Nofisa, we had done a program together. It was very strategy heavy. I was up to here with strategy. I was a course junkie. I learned, I applied a lot, but it felt like I was walking uphill through like molasses. It was just, I was putting so much energy into it and was like not really getting anywhere. And I knew it wasn't the strategy I needed. I knew I needed the mindset because that was pretty much the last piece of the puzzle that I hadn't gotten yet. And so that's what I was looking for with Joe. I went in a little hesitant because I was like, crystals, past life, witches. I'm on the Jesus train, so I was just like, I don't know about this. But actually, through working with Joe with the mindset, it's really helped me develop my relationship with God. It's helped me develop I'm not even a religious person, but it's helped me with that connection and getting through the money blocks and the stories and getting understanding my relationship with my mom and my dad and just all this stuff that you carry with you that you don't realize is what the problem is. You know, you can only optimize your opt-in page so much, right? You can only optimize your course or your video sales technique so much. And I had done all that, and it just wasn't moving and grooving for me. I saw so many other people like, oh, I made like $600 million in like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, that's so great for you. Like, great. I'm like, still like, what? I don't get it. And so by getting through the money blocks, it just really now I feel like, I mean, I'm not that person where I'm like, oh, blah, blah. But it's just like, I do see that clients come out of nowhere now and they get really great results. And even with that, detaching myself from, wow, this ad is really rocking, and like this one's kind of creepy. But that doesn't affect who I am as a person. And I really had to learn to detach myself from results, because when you go through your life as like the smart kid, or then you're like, oh yeah, that's my friend Portia, she's the rocket scientist, and then you're not doing rocket science anymore. It's like, well, who am I now? You know, and then I have 2 kids, and it's like, well, who am I if I'm not a mom, or if I'm not a wife, like if I'm not an engineer, if I'm not even an employee, like who am I? And so just the identity, and which, first of all, I didn't know I was signing up for all of this. I was like, I just need mindset work, and maybe you can look over my strategy, but I'm pretty good on that part. Which is funny because I only made $6,200. I guess I didn't know. I was a hot mess. I didn't know what I needed, I guess. But getting through all of that and uncovering those layers has really been instrumental this year.
So talk a little bit more about that, because I asked the other girls, what was the most unexpected, process or thing or something that happened during that coaching with Jo? Because I know for you, she'd be on the mastermind calls just going, I didn't think we were going here.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a few big things. One is a lot of the suppressed emotions. So growing up, I was always told I cried too much. Like if I, practice piano, it's like, you're crying too much. Like stop. And so now I've gone through life like nothing affects me. I'm like, like this. And so when things do happen, that was my natural thing, is to let it roll off. And it was so much stored stuff. So just learning to have those conversations and things. And we had some pretty traumatic things happen throughout the year, even with working with Jo. I think I started with her in September. Right around that time, we adopted a little baby boy, and we had him in our home for 6 weeks, and then the mom changed her mind, so we had to give him back. And then this summer, we had a miscarriage, and so it's just a lot of emotions you just have to process. And it's like, I'm really thankful that I had Jo there to process that, because I would have just suppressed even more and just had more of that energy just kind of pushed down. So that's one thing. The other thing I didn't expect was to get a tattoo. I was a tattoo person. I was a tattoo client. I got a tattoo that says surrender for my 35th birthday in April. And because I'm a control, was it clear, correct, delete, alt, control, what? Control, alt, delete, what is it? Yeah, cancel, clear, delete. Okay, as you can see, I'm a student of conscious language right now, so it's not control, alt, delete, in case you all didn't know. Maybe it's my new thing. But I recognize that I was that person that was, I had to hold on to something. I had to know exactly what was going on, and it's like, I can plan my way out of this. I can research my way out of this. There's a course I can buy that's going to get me out of this. And at the end of the day, I really had to learn to surrender. And it's not just a tattoo. I literally, even in our mastermind, I was just like, what about this? And they're all like, your tattoo. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right, surrender. So that is like the constant thing. And I didn't even know that's really what I not even need to do, because that's, control, alt, delete. But, yeah. But that was probably one of the most unexpected things, because I prided myself on that, of like, oh, I'm in control, I'm type A, I'm very left brain, like we can do this, and all this woo-woo fairy dust stuff. I'm just like, you guys need a plan. And now it's just learning to, like, yeah, you can have the plan, but don't be attached to the results and the outcome, and change the plan where needed. So I've moved from color-coded to pencil. Maybe colored pencils, but still having that flow and getting more into that.
Because talking about the colored plan, like Portia admitted on our mastermind retreat weekend that she'd have this amazing plan, all there color coded, and feel really good about that. And your work was done, apparently. So talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of us do get stuck in that. I know I do. I've said to Jo a million times, look, we don't need to do a process today. We just need some strategy. Yeah, I think I need strategy. So talk to that a little bit more, because I guess for you, definitely coming from that background of being that A-type person, it would have been a really big swing to go the other way and trust and surrender.
Yeah, and it still is. I mean, it's a daily journey. Just like when you forgive someone, in that moment, they're forgiven, and sometimes it comes back and you're like, oh, I got to forgive again. Same thing with the surrender. So as far as the planning, for me, it's really just come down to, you can make the plan and you work on it, but also leave that room for the flow, the surrender, the what if you get a download for something else, or what if something else comes along, or if it doesn't happen quite this way, it's still okay. And so for me, yes, I still have the plans and everything, but it's knowing that there's space for it to change, and to change in a really beautiful way. Like even now when I was saying like, oh, I started this one business and now it's flowed into something else, and it's flowed into it naturally. Like I didn't start off like, oh, Facebook ads, yeah, that's my thing, but that's what I love to do. And so I was like, why not make a business out of it? So even though it's like morphed and changed along the way, I really love where I am now, and that it's not something I could have planned a year or two ago.
Yeah, beautiful. And I just want to, for the last wrap up, is just bring your attention to this morning, what happened on your discovery call. I was in the bathroom getting ready and I was listening to her and I was just like, oh yeah, she's got this now. Step into that again for me and explain how that felt, being able to say your prices with confidence and, give an explanation on that.
Yeah, so this, like I said, this morning was it was a referral from a current client I have right now that's been killing it. And it was the first time I had raised my prices, and I was, I was kind of hyping myself up because I had to set an alarm to take the call because I'm going to be here all day. And I was like, well, maybe I should just revert back to my old prices, and that's where I'm safe. And I was like, no, P. That's what I call myself in the mirror. It's like, you're going to do this, and this is your price, and the world's abundant. If she says no, there's many other people out there who pay X amount, whatever, per month. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so then we were doing the call, and I had audited her account, so I always look at people's accounts before I work with them to make sure I can actually deliver results. Because, I mean, I don't want to, be a sucky Facebook ads person. Like, that's not fun for anybody. So I knew that I could help her. And so I was just going through and saying, hey, logically, because, engineer is kind of still there a little bit in a good way, engineer Portia, whatever. And I was like, well, we need to do this, this, and this. And so when it got to the price, it was no longer about me. It was about, I knew that your message needs to be out in the world, because that's the other thing that Joe has helped me figure out, is that it's not just about money with my clients. Because with Facebook ads, everybody thinks it's the magic bullet. Like, oh, I'm going to do Facebook ads and I'm going to be a millionaire in 6 weeks. Like, maybe if you're like at 900,000 already. But I've now worked with people where I need to believe in their business and their message too, because getting their message out to the world is important to me, and their success is my success. And so looking at her account, I was like, I can do this for her. And so when it came to the price, it wasn't even, I just said it and it just like rolled off my tongue. I was like, whoa, look at that. But it's because I knew that's the value I could provide to her, and it wasn't about the time I put in. It's about the value she's going to get by getting her message out to the world. And I just had the confidence in that because I've gotten past all the BS stuff about, oh, you can only make money in corporate, or what are your parents going to think if you don't have like a real job? And they did all that sacrifice for all those years of schooling and all this stuff, And I'm like, the degrees are in their house. They're not even in where I live. They have them, so they can keep the paper. And I am moving on. And so just having that conversation and having that confidence of, this is what I offer, this is the value it's going to bring, and this is what you're going to deposit in my account, it just felt seamless to me, and it just felt natural. And that's not where I was, in December charging $500 and like, oh, I hope they Yeah. So.
Well done, Portia. So give her a round of applause for absolutely rocking it. Thanks, honey.
I heard you die twice.